Hi YouTube. Hope you're doing good today. Hi world. Normally I don't make videos like these, but this one was a very interesting one because hopefully it can shine some light on what's going on. Right now, as many of you know, there's a conflict going on in Israel and Palestine. This video is really directed to Westerners because if you're like me, you probably have lost a lot of faith in mainstream media. A lot of information out there, very difficult to follow. So hopefully this video is of use to you because I'm going to share some data that I got from the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, aka OCHA, and see if we can break down some of the data on this website to make more sense as to why what happened in the recent week actually did happen. Certainly didn't happen for no reason, and certainly didn't happen randomly. It happened for a reason, and there's some breadcrumbs that we can follow. So with that, I got four data tables to share with you, or data sets. And as you can see here, they have it into four tabs. You can check out their website linked below. But we essentially have Palestinian fatalities, Israeli fatalities, Palestinian injuries, and Israeli injuries. And I want to take a look at all four to see if we can make some more sense as to what's going on. So we're going to start with the Israeli fatalities. And the first thing to point out is that I don't think it's actually 100% accurate. It says 308. I think the sources that I've heard recently is that the recent events in 2023 should have gone up to at least 1,200, if not 1,600, if not more. I'm going to assume that it's about 3,000 just to play it on the conservative end so that I can make a point here. But let's just say it's 3,000. They haven't updated the data. Maybe they're still waiting for the numbers to clarify. I think they should have updated it a little bit, but that's just me. It's the year's 2023 right now. This data, by the way, has been gone on since 2008. So it's a pretty large time frame, about 15 years worth of data, and it says only 308 Israeli fatalities. No freaking way. This thing should be at least 3,000 if you ask me. Okay? Israeli fatalities, we'll say 3,000. So not obviously a good number. We're talking about something on the order of 9/11 for us Westerners, especially for the Americans, us Americans. 3,000, we can understand a number like that. Okay, boom, Israeli fatalities 3,000. Not a good look, and it probably should spike way high on the year 2023. But there's more to the story, folks. Let's look at the now Palestinian fatalities over the same 15-year time span. Let's take a look. We see a number that's much higher, folks. It says here 6,407, effectively double of what would be the Israeli fatalities, folks. The Palestinian fatalities is essentially double. Okay? So do understand that this is a two-sided conflict and that there are casualties on both sides of the story. Now, most of the numbers are going to be in 2014, and that essentially was the Gaza war that took place. 2014. I believe it was some kind of occupation. Do your research, you can find it out. But the point here for this video is to understand that 2014, the casualties that they suffered, 2,300, according to essentially the United Nations database, is higher than I think what's being reported right now on the Israeli side. Keep that in mind. But there's more to the story, folks, because as much of you already probably know, we keep hearing about this occupation of Palestine. What does that exactly mean? And I think the next two data sets are going to shine some light on that. But now let's turn over to injuries instead of fatalities. Fatalities being people who have died, injuries being people who have lived but still took some physical damage in the process. We can look at the Israeli injuries and we can see that they're actually quite high, 6,307 over the last 15 years. All right, so now we see a number on the Israeli side that essentially matches the Palestinian. No, the Israelis haven't been killed, but we're dealing with people who have been traumatized, for sure. right? Physically injured. And you can look back 2014 again, still very high number there, which is also very interesting given that these are Israeli injuries. I think the most impressive data that this whole website shows is the Palestinian injuries. And the number, folks, is not a few thousand, it's not a few hundred, it's 152,000, folks. 152,000 injuries. That's a lot over the last 15 years. And you can look at the data table, it's all over the place. It's a hot mess. 2018 actually was the highest at 31,000. Now we got to look at the type of physical injuries. Most of them have been tear gas, which you can recover from, Army boot camp. They use that as a training exercise. 67,000, still a high number. But there are more than that. There's other, which we don't know what the other exactly means. We have rubber bullets, ouch. And then the one that really seems to stick out the most here is live ammunition. 17,578 people have been injured from live ammunition. Another way to put that lightly, folks, is that they've been shot over the last 15 years. But they live to tell the tale. And then you can look at physical assault, 5,000, tear gas, ouch, air launch explosives, 4,600. This is the highest number, folks, of the last 15 years, 152,000 Palestinian injuries. So while we're here to support that situation and support the people in that situation, we don't want any civilians suffering right now, especially we don't want any Israeli civilians suffering whatsoever, but by goodness, we don't want any Palestinians suffering as well. And so there's more to the story here, folks. War is not the answer. Seems like the war is a bigger distraction to what fundamentally has been going on for a long time, but it simply hasn't been officially declared. But still, there's been tension and conflict that's been going on for a long time. And so these four data sets, starting with the Israeli fatalities, which should be much, much higher. No way it can be 308. No way whatsoever. It should be at least 1,900. And if not, if anything, it should be, I don't really know what the actual numbers are, but we'll say anywhere between 1,600 to 3,000 Israeli fatalities over the last 15 years, with 2023 by far being the highest year. Palestinian fatalities are still higher though, folks, at 6,407. Likewise, Israeli injuries over the last 15 years is 6,307. However, Palestinian injuries are much higher at 150,000. So that is about, what is that? Something on the order of, it's much higher, folks. Much, much higher. We're talking in order of definitely 20, 25 times or greater magnitude, folks. So if you want to help this situation in the world, the whole world's watching, let's try to figure out how to find a solution on both sides. Hopefully this was of interest to you folks, and praying for everybody, praying for all the families that are going through a lot of difficulty right now. I say Godspeed, folks, for we're being tested right now. And these are interesting times, and we're absolutely being tested without a doubt. So stay safe and Godspeed.